Hey there, YouTube. This is SGM4306, and I'm back home over break. And so I've accrued a couple more Game Boys and whatnot. So I ran out of room. I've stuffed, this one area with Game Boys. So I decided to spread it out, remove some of the games, put them on a separate shelf. So yeah, this is pretty much everything that I've pre-sorted here. I've kind of moved over all my Game Boy Advances because I don't have enough room, honestly. And I got these shelves here, which are, I think these are originally bookshelves or from IKEA probably or something like that. And yeah, so my dad was able to get one of his coworkers has a lot of, scrap clear plastic acrylic. And so he had asked him to cut some out for shelves here because this unit the original shelves were okay, but I kind of wanted something clear so that I could backlight it with some LEDs. So I know you can see here, I started going through mounting all my games. So I have my cartridges kind of all scattered throughout here. And yeah, I think that's coming along very nicely. And I have my new Game & Watch, which I did a video on, and it works absolutely perfectly now. Stuck some new batteries in there, and it's good to go. And finally, my pride and joy, my PSP collection and whatnot, and Vita games and whatnot. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that. These are gonna look sick once I put an LED strip on the back and wire them all in parallel. I even if I do RGB LEDs, that would look absolutely sick. That might be a bit overkill though, but that would look really cool because it's clear top and bottom, but the sides are cut so they're kind of rough. So if I put any light incoming from the back, it'll make the entire edge glow, pretty much whatever color light that is. So yeah, this is pretty cool. A little bit of dust on my games. I gotta clean them off. Anyway, yeah, back to the main content of my video. Okay, so we are back, and this is what I originally wanted to make this video. I've been holding off on this for a while because I lacked one vital piece of componentry, and this is the cable for this unit. I'd never owned a Game Boy cable, so yeah, I pretty much just played alone. I never really multiplayered or anything like that. So yeah, finally went on eBay, bought one for about $2 or $3, and now we're good to go. Now I can print stuff out. So this is the Game Boy printer, and I have two of these, and this guy's kind of my beater unit. It's kind of roughed up, not so great condition. This I believe this came loose, and yeah, it came with a little bit of yellow paper. That's pretty much long dead, tiny little bit that came with. And I recently picked up this Game Boy camera, and this is in pretty good condition. The battery was dead inside, and an interesting thing to know is when the battery in these are dead, your pictures, well, obviously you can't take pictures, but your photo album, when you try to select pictures, you'll notice that it'll be like corrupted pictures, and it'll show pictures that you never took, and it just acts really weird. So that's a clue that you need to replace the internal battery, and I just stuck a CR2032 in here, and we're good to go now. And I brought a handful of my games that are compatible with this Game Boy printer. Pokemon games, obviously, you can print out like Pokédex entries and whatnot. And Legend of Zelda DX, you can print out pictures that you can take during the game, during certain like key events, essentially. And Pokemon trading card game, which I heard you can print out your deck and your various stats and whatnot. Anyway, here's the main thing. This I bought, I can't remember, it was years and years ago, at least 5 or 6 years ago. And I got a pretty good deal, I remember, on it. It was the complete boxed with manual, pretty much mint condition inside. The box is a little bit damaged, but what are you going to do? It even has the original Nintendo sticker, albeit the person cut, obviously, to open it. But yeah, other than that, this was bought new at one time. I wish it had a price on here. I'm not sure how much these went for. Probably like 40 or 50 bucks. Anyway, let's give this guy an open. Yeah, just going through this really quickly. Shows you kind of what the original sticky back tape would have looked like. Actual size print samples. Shows you different colors of the Game Boy cameras. Japan got a gold Zelda themed one where all the characters and whatnot, everything is themed in the software for Zelda as well, as opposed to the weird stuff that's in this version they have here. They also got a clear purple one, I believe, which looks pretty cool. But I got the red one here. So that's what we're going to be using today. It just has some caution, just saying paper will be damaged if you expose it to heat, yada yada. Yeah, it shows you everything that I guess comes with it. Oh, it actually did come with some AA batteries. Comes with one spool, the printer itself, and it came with a link cable that had the adapter part so you can hook it up to the original DMG. Obviously, I have a third-party cable, so I can only print out with my Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Pocket systems. So yeah, so let's give this guy an open. Interesting thing that Nintendo does with their boxes, they always have this little cutout on their older systems where they can scan the barcode of the actual system inside. That's pretty neato. So here's the unit that came in the box, and this is pretty much mint. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, even the label's crisp and whatnot. And these guys take 6 AA batteries. Should last you a while though, but yeah, thermal printers tend to use a lot of current, so they need a lot of batteries. No way around that. So yeah, and there's no AC input, so you're gonna have to have batteries, unfortunately. And this guy, if you carefully open this, it actually came with quite a bit of the printer paper. And unfortunately though, I've tested this out, and this paper is kind of aged not so gracefully. So just as a quick example, you can see, you can barely see, this is, I printed the test image, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And here you can see, it says, hello, it's essentially the same message. It's hello, and it has a picture of the Game Boy printer and then Mario's head in like a little banner. So this is actually receipt paper. And what my friend and I did, they sell receipt paper that's the exact width that you'll need. But we were sort of cheap, and it was actually cheaper to get the wider roll. And this is kind of what you would see at a convenience store when they print out your receipt. It's actually double the width, and I believe this is 1.5 inches, and we bought 3-inch paper. And we literally took a hacksaw to it, cut it in half, and I took one half and he took the other half. We split the price of it. It was pretty cheap. It ended up being like $1 each or something. And this is like more than enough paper to last pretty much forever, I want to say. And yeah, this works perfectly as long as you cut it the right width. Once in a while it'll jam up, but yeah, as I said, you can even get paper, receipt paper that's this exact width anyway. It's not that much more expensive, but whatever. So yeah, that'll be a good idea. So yeah, other than this, we have the manual that it came with, and I'll just flick through real quickly. It just has infographics on how to connect it, how to debug it if you have jams and whatnot, and so yeah. Here we have sort of a poster. This is what, just precautions and warnings. Anyway, and here we have a little offer for a free player's guide that I probably can't turn in now to request. This is probably a bit too late for that. Anyway, yeah, it has a nice picture of a sample picture and a Game Boy Pocket. And yeah, it just has an offer for a subscription to their Nintendo Power. Actually, is Nintendo Power still a thing? I'm not sure. I don't know if they canceled that or not. Anyway, yeah, apparently they had a guide for the Game Boy printer and camera. Yeah, interesting. July 1st, 1998 was when that was available. That would have been cool to actually get, but yeah, I bought this semi-recently, so unfortunately, pretty sure it's too late to send this in. Anyway, yeah. Let's see how much it would have... 12 issues would have been $20. Yeah, it's not too bad. Ooh, okay, if you wanted this guide, I guess, it would have cost $37 with the 2 years of Nintendo Power, so I guess 24 issues plus the Game Boy printer guide. And if you were rich, if you're a rich kid, you for $50 you could have gotten 3 years and the Game Boy guide. So yeah, pretty neat actually. I like looking at old advertisements and manuals and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Anyway, put this back in for safekeeping. So yeah, if you haven't figured out, this is probably going to be a long video. So I'm not going to use this unit. I want to keep this kind of as neat and minty fresh as possible. So let's just take out the batteries and put it in my beater unit. That's why I bought two. So this guy I can set aside nice and safe. And we'll open this guy. And we're just going to play around with it a little bit. We're going to pop in some of my games, print out some stuff, take some pictures, and see if this is aged well or not. So, first order of business, I'll open this guy up. This was the yellow paper that this came with. It didn't come with much. It performs about as similarly as this. I mean, you got to figure this is, what, about 20 years old now, and like printer paper doesn't really last that long. So I just have a short spool that I cut off of this, and if you want to print out that text image, the test image of the hello banner, if you press and hold feed while turning on power, it will go through and print that out for you. And there you go. You can rip that off. Okay, so I hooked up the cord to my uber fantastic RGB digital capacitive sensing modded Game Boy Pocket that I crammed a lot of circuitry into. And yeah, you can see here this is fully custom and this is biverted as well. So this will make it easy for you guys to see the screen as I'm printing. And this guy is Zelda DX, and let's print out one of the images from the game. And yeah, had to hunt around for some fresh AAA batteries. These guys were just about dead. One thing about doing this mod on the Game Boy Pocket is it consumes quite a bit of current. Anyway, we can boot up into Link's Awakening here. And there we go, we're in the photo house right now. And right there on the map, you can find it. And this mouse photographer will take pictures of you in various points in the plot in the game. So we can open the photo album here, turn on our Game Boy printer, and let's see. We want to look at the game, and I only have a couple pictures here. I'll show you what I have. I haven't really gotten that far in the game. Picture of Link giving the peace sign. Picture of Link getting chased by a chain chomp. And picture of Link and a mystery character in front of a bridge, like a, what would you call that? A bridge of a castle or whatever. So yeah, let's print out Link getting chased by a chain chomp. So we're linked, we're good to go. Press print, print OK, OK. And it'll take a little while. It actually has to transfer the data. And the screen will say printing with the chain chomp running around as it prints. And here we go. So this is one of the limitations of printing with this paper if you cut it by hand. If you cut it a little thick, you can see the paper actually got stuck. And so we got a chibi link. Let's try that again. And it sometimes helps to kind of help the paper along. So let's try that again. I probably need to go through and clean the roller. I'll give it a little bit of a helping hand this time. I'll kind of give it a bit of a push. There we go. That came out perfect. Carefully rip this. My camera is not, the stand is not really working with me today. And there you go. You can see this picture, as well as I printed this one here. which is him giving the peace sign. Actually came out better this time. I wonder if me using this kind of primed the head or something. I don't know. Yeah, and just some quick other things. Pictures of me randomly. So yeah, these were printed out with the Game Boy camera, which I will show you next. And finally, another thing that I printed was a Pokédex entry for Cyndaquil from Pokemon Gold here. So, let's turn this off, remove this game. Let's now load, I don't think I started a game in yellow. We'll load gold again as well. I'll show you the printing process for this. So we can load up the game. There we go. Continue. So to print, if you want to print a Pokédex entry, all you have to do is select the one that you want and go over to print. And yeah, not really necessary for me to print out another copy. I have one right here. Looks okay. It's just very small, and I think maybe the wheel was slipping, so you can see it's like missing some lines or something like that. But yeah, pretty cool that you can do that. So let me get the contrast right. So yeah, that's pretty much the same for between gold and Pokemon Yellow here. So not necessarily to show you that again. Pokemon trading card game, I've never tried this, so let's see if we can figure out. Give it the old blow. That sounded wrong. Anyway, there we go. So next up is the Game Boy camera, and this is a very interesting peripheral, I guess you can consider it. This was, I believe, like the world's first like smallest consumer camera that came out. I believe this came out in '98 or somewhere around there. And it's compatible with the DMG Game Boy because it has this slot cutout. And there's detents on the lens, so it clicks at, what would that be, like 15-degree intervals or so. So it's a pretty neat idea that you can, this was the original selfie camera, basically. You could take your own picture. It looks like this outer lens would like be able to rotate to focus, but no, it's fixed. But yeah, you can take pictures of other stuff. So here, I thought I would take pictures of my Game Boy Light. Beautiful, my precious. Anyway, and my Game Boy Advance SP, the NES Classic themed one. So let's turn these on. Turn this guy on. Let's get this. There we go. This is a very weird game if you consider it a game. Basically, you can speed up or slow down Mario's dancing, and I don't know. I think I read somewhere where that's Miyamoto in a Mario suit dancing, but who knows? Anyway, so let's just get into this. So you can either shoot or view. I don't believe I have any pictures in here. No, I don't. So yeah, if you had pictures, it'd show up here. It's like a photo album sort of thing. You can play various games if you go down here, and I believe, yep, if you press start, you can enter this kind of weird menu system where you can see high scores for the mini games, credits, record, and username, and then you just press B to exit out. If you press select, it opens up, it looks like it opens up the back of the Game Boy camera there, and you can doodle on your pictures, draw on it, and add frames and whatnot. You can link to the Game Boy printer here. You can do special, I'm not sure what that is actually. And you can edit, you can make like short GIF-like movie things by taking multiple pictures and whatnot. Anyway, we're just going to take a picture now. So I'm going to shoot and get both of these in frame, and that's perfect. So yeah, you can see both the Game Boys. Turn these off so I don't kill the batteries. And we are going to print
these guys out now. So, all we have to do is, well, press A to save, first off. We can go back, we can go to check. Well, before we do that, let's see what these other options in the menu do. So, we can do items. You can do like a self timer, so you can prop this up on a table, and after like 10 or 15 seconds, whatever, it'll take a picture. We can do time lapse. It'll take a picture at a fixed interval, sort of do a slow motion time lapse. Magic. Let's see. We can do trick lenses. We can do montage, panorama, and game face. Game face is basically, this has a built-in game of ball, which was a Game & Watch game. It was actually the first one. And basically, you can take a picture of your face and stick it on the main character there. Just a bit of fun. Panorama just takes a couple of pictures either vertically or horizontally. That's it. And if you click run, you get these weird images. You're now crossing the equator. Jambo Nintendo. Okay, let's click it again. Same one. There we go. We got one of the weird ones. Who are you running from? That is nightmare fuel. Don't be so silly. And I love how it prevents you from exiting out and says, don't be so silly. It's kind of weird. And same thing, creepy. I believe that might be all of them. Maybe there's one or two more. But yeah, it just randomly picks one. So this is sort of set up like it's a RPG. It's supposed to be like a menu system and whatnot. Anyway, let's go to check. And this is a picture we just took. So let's go through and press up. So once you're on a picture, you can press A. If you press right, you can select a frame. So I just have the Nintendo Game Boy frame selected. There's quite a number to choose from. You can just quickly go through them here, including no frames, or just black areas surrounding. I like the Nintendo Game Boy one. There we go. We can put comments on, we can delete, we can put stamps or paint on it, but I just want to print it. So let's get this selected and just press A and confirm. And it'll have this screen where it shows you it transferring and a little image of octopus guy, which is pretty neat actually. And while it's printing, it shows kind of this doctor and an animal on a ball, and it says printing, which is kind of weird. But anyway, and there we go. That came out pretty good actually. I'm surprised. Just rip that off and get a close-up of this. And there we go. This is a picture I just took. You can see it right here. There you go. So yeah, this was a pretty neat toy back in the day, I would say. If I had this as a kid, this would have been freaking awesome, having a digital camera that you can immediately, sort of like a Polaroid printer where you can take pictures of random things and print them out on paper that actually doesn't last forever. But anyway, yeah, thermal paper is really sensitive to sunlight, heat, any kind of chemical. If you were to put a piece of like Scotch tape on this, it would fade like very quickly due to the type of glue that they use. It would actually eat away at the image and it sort of dissolves it. But anyway, you can see here, pretty cool. Give it a thumbs up. Anyway, yeah, just me messing around, printing random things on printer receipt paper. And yeah, just pull the rest of this out and I will show you guys. I've already pretty much shown a teardown of this guy, but I guess it bears mentioning. You can remove the paper cutter portion here and gain access to the print head area in case you have a jam. You can get some tweezers in there and carefully pull out the paper if it's really stuck in there. You can see the print head here, and as I press feed, basically it spools the paper up and it also moves the print head across. So yeah, you can see that going across there. And if you're very careful, you can see there's sort of a white area where the actual thermal head exists. And it's basically like a heating element where it can turn on and off each of the vertical pixels. And it does that very quickly while running across the paper to, uh, create the dark portions on the paper itself as it's printing. And all it has to do then is, you know, extend the paper upwards and do the same thing for the next line and the next line and the next line until it's done. Yeah, if you guys are interested, I can link the video of where I did the teardown for this guy down below. Very interesting what's inside. And we'll just stick the original paper it came with back in and shut it. And yeah, we're good to go now. So I can go and print out to my heart's content all these random pictures that I can take with my Game Boy camera in 2017. My Game Boy camera, my Game Boy printer. It's pretty interesting though, the idea of instant photography. I believe it's sort of making a resurgence. I know Polaroid discontinued, the Polaroid picture films, the instant films that they had been making, since the 90s pretty much. But I believe Fuji has come out with the Instax Mini or whatever, which is sort of a revival of the instant film sort of thing. And I know there are a couple Zinc printers that have come out. They're basically Bluetooth printers that they print in full color, and they use, it's not, well, it's sort of thermal. I think it's chemical, but it'll print in full color instant pictures basically, and they're like small cell phone. It's about the size of this Game Boy Pocket, and it'll just pop out the end, and you don't have to shake it like a Polaroid picture. But yeah, so there's sort of been a resurgence of instant photography because it's great having your cell phone and being able to take pictures, but it's sort of cool also to be able to have something physical once you're done. But you got to worry about how long this paper will last. I mean, they're pretty much always going to be producing printer paper. So even though the stock of the original sticky back Game Boy printer paper will eventually dry up, and even if you can get your hands on them, it'll be expensive and it won't work anymore, in fact, because it'll all have faded. You can always get some good old receipt paper and print out some pictures that will last probably a few months or maybe a year or two and then will fade anyway. But this is just sort of a neat thing. I have a side project going on, though, where I'm attempting to... I found some protocol data on how the Game Boy actually communicates with the printer over the serial link. So I might buy another one of these cables, chop it up, hook it up to a microprocessor, a PIC microprocessor, and send my own data and see if I can make a portable printer where you can type something up on the PIC microprocessor and then send it, maybe even Bluetooth. So this will print out text or images from your Android or iOS phone wirelessly, sort of, like an older rendition of the Zinc printers that they came out with for smartphones. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. This was sort of a ridiculous extravaganza of everything Game Boy printer related. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I didn't bore you too much. Just some of the games I had, the Game Boy camera, Game Boy printer, and my box copy, and some pictures that we took today. So I'd say we accomplished quite a bit. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while, and yeah, so I was happy with this. Got a lot of editing to do. I had a lot of technical problems when I was filming this, between the batteries on my Game Boy Pocket dying and me having to scrounge up new batteries. Yeah, I know I could have just used my Game Boy Advance or my Game Boy Light, but I really wanted to show off. I worked hard on this, and I just got to find an excuse to use this now. Now, actually, okay, so a little bit of a rant. This mod is amazing that you can do it to a Game Boy Pocket, but ultimately, because of the fact that it uses AAA batteries, that sort of makes it a moot point. Honestly, if you're gonna mod a Game Boy, do a DMG. It's a lot easier to do, and it ends up, looking just about as nice. The screen's not quite as nice, but it works pretty well, and it's a lot easier to do, and the batteries will still last a lot longer, even with the backlight. Anyway, rant over, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, like, comment, subscribe. You can comment down below if you had any questions. I don't know everything. I know very little, in fact. So, if you want to start a discussion, find out more about this technology, the Game Boy camera, their printer, you guys can discuss down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.